Okay, so we will start. In our last class, we saw what is dependency injection and sector injection in the form of primitive values that we had completed. Today, we will see sector injection in the form of object and sector injection in the form of collection. So dependency injection, this is one of the common interview question to a fresher. It is a dependency in it is a design pattern where or whatever a class is requiring the object, that object Spring framework is providing, Spring container is providing, that already in our last class we have seen. So now today we will go to dependency injection in the form of object. Same step that we have to follow in my last class, whatever I have told. So in Spring core module, so the entire application, the entire program consisting 3 steps. Step number 1, we will develop a bin, Java bin. Step number 2, we will create a configuration file. Step number 3, we will develop client logic file or main class file. Now, suppose we will consider an example. So, suppose we will consider a class address. So, 2 class or 2 bin I will consider. One is address and one is employee. So, an employee have an address. So, it is representing has a relationship. Suppose directly we will see practically. Now let here the package that I have com.silan. So I will create a Java bin. Let it new class. So what I am doing, I am creating a bin. Let my Java bin is address.java. So I will click on finish button. Okay, so address, so we know that a Java bin where the data member must be private and containing getter and setter method. Private string city, let city, state, let country. Suppose I have 3 data member. Okay, so this is my first Java bin. So bin is address.java and I will represent getter and setter method. So generate getter and setter method. Click on generate. So in this way, I presented getter setter method. By taking city, get city, set city. By taking state, get state, set state. By taking country, get country and state country. Now I will represent a toString method. toString method. Okay, so toString method. So what it is representing? City equals to the value of city, state equals to the value of state, country equals to the value of country. So this is my address.java or this is my first bin. Now I will go to second bin. Now I will develop another bin. Now new class. Let my class name is employee. click on finish button. So employee, suppose let it private int id, then private string name, then private address, let my object name is address. You see, particularly this line, just you consider, address is a what? Address is a class. Okay, already we have defined here address.java. I have considered as a bin. Okay, so one class reference, I can say this is a reference or this is an object of class address. One reference or one object acting as a data member in another class, because this part of employee class, this is a data member. So we are presenting a bin. The bin name is employee.java, and what the bin definition? A data member must be private. So ID is a data member, name is a data member, address is a data member. But this address is what? It is a reference of address class. But here in employee class, it is acting as a data member. One class reference acting as a data member in another class. This concept. ID is a data member, type is int, name is a data member, whose type is string, address is a data member, whose type is address. So this address is a class name, address.java, that we have developed. Now I will go to getter and setter method, source, generate getters and setters. I will click on here. So now this is my getter and setter method. Now I will define a simple business logic. One method I can define, void let show info method, suppose. Okay, then so three things that we have to display, because employee ID, employee name and employee address. So system.out.println. Okay, the value of ID, suppose there is a space, I will give the value of name and system.out.println. So let the value of address. This is my business logic. For that, so I defined a method. So let the method name is showInfo method. Now showInfo method I defined inside the employee class. Employee.java is my Java bin. So when this method definition will execute, so when this method will invoke by the employee object. So now employee class is the main class. So info method, when it will invoke by the employee object, then this method definition will execute. So we will require employee object, but that employee object who will provide Spring framework or Spring container will provide. So this is my step number 1. So address.java is my Java bin and employee.java is my Java bin. This is step number 1. But here in this context that we have 2 Java bin. Now I will go to configuration file. So before that, so you will check pom.xml, 2 dependency, that is requiring that we will add. One is Spring core dependency and one is Spring context dependency. In which way that we will add that in my last class, that already I have explained. Now I will step number 2, I will go to develop configuration file. So right click on srcmin java, new, let other, so go to XML file, click on next button. So let config to, suppose let my configuration file is config to, click on finish button. Okay, so namespaces that we have to add, previously that already I have what specified, that part I copied and here I will paste. So bins begin and bins end. So this is my XML file. Particularly this XML file is called as configuration file. So what the configuration file is representing, so already that I have already discussed. Again we will see. So whatever we have the Java bin, so we will give the detail, we will assign the value to each property of bin, and we will give a unique ID to represent our bin. Now the first what bin we have, the first bin we have, suppose you see I can write in this way, let bin id equals to, okay, so whatever id value, whatever you can give, let id 2, suppose. Then class explicitly we have to specify com.silan dot class name is address. So this part we have to give explicitly, class equals to this. Okay, so now, so bin begin, bin end, that we have to do, and everything we will write here. Okay, so this is a common format when we are developing configuration file. Configuration file is nothing but an XML file. So in this XML file, so there is a bins tag, bins begin and bins end. If I will consider as an attribute, then bin begin, bin end sub attribute, then inside bin there is an attribute property. So property name equals to, so in address how many property, city, state and country. So this property we have to give the value. So first city, okay, property name equals to city, value equals to, so let I will give Bhubaneswar. Now here I will end by putting slash. So there are 3 property, so I will copy and I will paste. Okay, so second property is state, let value equals to Odisha, and third property is country, let value equals to India. Okay, so now this is for one Java bin, for address bin. So second bin I will start, because we have 2 bin, one is address.java and one is employee.java. So this bin begin, bin end, so I specified, I presented for address.java. Now so I will write, I will give the details to employee.java. Similarly I will write bin id equals to, let id 3, then class equals to, so class equals to com.silan.employee, then property, so one line that I will copy, so I will paste here, property name in employee, So in employee, so what are the property? ID, and name, then address. So I will go to config2.xml. So first is ID. So let value equals to 101. Let then property. So let second property of is name, then the value. Okay, suppose Rahul Jha. Then third is what? Address. So property name equals to address. So this is important. So address. So when I will write the property address, so address is the object, address is the reference of address class, but address class containing three property. Address is representing the value of city, value of state, the value of country. So here I will write, so this address, it is representing this property, three property. So how I will write, you remember, so there is a keyword ref, R-E-F, and ref equals to directly I will write ID2. You see, ref means reference. So what is the value of address? ID value is 101, name value is Rahul Jha, address. So when I came to the property address, so address is the reference of address class. But in address class, again three property. That means the address representing city, state and country value. So it is nothing but again bin. So that's why, so as per the concept, there is a keyword REF. So it is meaning what? To reference. Reference equals to ID2. So what is ID2? So I have written bin ID equals to ID2. So this ID2, this value uniquely identifying address.java. Okay, this control S. So this is my XML file. This is my XML file. Okay, bins begin, bins end, then bin begin, then bin end. But here, so since we have two Java bin, so that's why, so two times, so one bin ID, bin begin bin, and so one ID I specified for address.java and another ID I specified for employee.java. So in this way, step number 2 that we completed. So we will go to step number 3. So step number 3, we will represent Spring container, or then whatever we developed the XML file, that XML file we will hand over to Spring container. So now I will go to create a new Java file. So let my file name is Spring core example2. So I will select main method and I will click on finish button. Okay, so here step number 3 is very simple. Same point, so directly I will copy same point, so I will paste. You see, so first line is representing what? Application context object. How application context object I am getting? New, and this is the implementation class. New class name, it is returning what? Application context object within a bracket. So what I am writing? config2.xml file. That means, and whatever the XML file we developed, so that XML file we handed over to application context object. Application context is an interface basically. So it is just what? Considering as Spring container. Now, so I will call, so very simple, get win method, and get win method, within get win method, what I will specify? So ID3 employee. So I will go to configuration file, which ID uniquely identifying employee. So that is ID3. So I will specify ID3. So already this part I have known. GetWin method is a such method coming from application context object. That's why it is invoking by application context object. GetWin method is a such method when it is invoking by context object. It is returning object class object. So once it is returning an object of a type object class, in this way also we can write. So it is a method which is returning an object class object, but we are requiring employee class object. Then I can write directly. In my last class I have written directly by typecasting, but you can see. So if I will explicitly I specified object class object, because GetWin method is a such method, it is returning an object of a type object class. That means it is returning object class object. But I am requiring employee class object. I am requiring employee class object. Suppose employee, object name is employee. So I can do the typecasting. Target type is employee. OBJ, in this way that I can write. Okay. Otherwise, directly if you will write here employee, and here you will specify the target type employee, context.getWin method within bracket ID3. It is also right. Okay. GetWin method returning an object class object. Since we are requiring employee class object, I did typecasting. Then once I got employee object, then employee object, that is employee dot show method name. My method name is what? Show info. My method name is show info method. So my method name is show info method. Yes. Now Control S saving. So this is my example 2. Sector injection in the form of object. Sector injection in the form of object. Okay. So when GetWin method is invoking internally, what the Spring framework is doing, Spring container is creating employee class object. Then through that employee object, whatever you have the setter method. In employee.java, you have a setter method, set name, set address, and these are the set ID. So by internally, it is the internal mechanism. So Spring framework is allocating employee object, creating employee object by invoking setter method. Whatever the informations that you have, all informations the Spring framework is setting. Okay. But that is completely abstract, because we are getting employee object. Then we know that employee object dot method name, then method definition will execute. Now you see, I will hit run. Spring core. Okay, you see, so we got 101 employee ID name as per the as per the output statement. So what the output statement I have written, ID means the value of ID, 101 came, name, the value of name, Rahul Jha came, then address means the value of address is the address reference. So in address.java, so one method is invoking, executing toString method. So what the toString method? City equals to Bhubaneswar, state equals to Odisha, and country equals to India. So I hope you got the clarity. So this is my second example, sector injection in the form of object.